Um, Hi, my name's Erickson. Why am I here? Well, it's a long story. It all started with this guy, AaronRobert. He decided to make a Minecraft server, and when the server launched on the 4th of August 2019, I thought I'd join in. We spent a few days playing casually and just kind of exploring the world, but when Aaron found a lot of diamonds 2 days later, I figured that since the server didn't have rules yet, I could fight him to get the diamonds. I eventually stopped attacking him because he just wouldn't let the diamonds go, and I got closer, but then he knocked me into lava. I still remember that day. You know, Aaron was kind of a god. He didn't shy away from using his admin powers at the time, so I thought that if I wanted to stand up to him, I'd have to have a whole team of players. I managed to recruit a player named Cairo and his brother Vertex into my group that we eventually dubbed Tyrant. I never said I was the good guy. I then built an arena in the Nether, and on the 14th we declared war on Aaron, and I challenged him to a duel. Turns out he was not only inexperienced, he didn't even have a decent equipment. I destroyed him, and the battle went down in history as the unequal duel. 6 days later, on the 20th, a team of some of the most dedicated players killed the Ender Dragon for the very first time on the server. A month went by, we built a lot of things. I had a base, and the spawn city had gotten slightly less empty. And on September 19th, I thought that I would challenge Aaron to a duel once more to see if he had gotten better since. I won, and even decapitated his head with an axe. It was the very first player had dropped in the history of the server, actually. Another month later, I thought I would do something interesting, and so on the 26th of October, we held a Halloween party, where we killed 4 withers with a new guy called Isaac. Afterward, Aaron had to explore the entire server and many builds within it. Yet another month went by and people got bored. Aaron had stopped playing, and so a large majority of the players simply left. From the 15th of November to December 9th, I and a few others were the only ones who regularly played from time to time. Later, this was called the Drought. So what happened on the 9th of December, you ask? Well, the 1.15 update was coming out, and we decided to reboot the map at every update. We had a great party where all of the active players, even Aaron, spent the day throwing fireworks and having fun. I still have fond memories of that day. The new map launched a day later, and everyone was coming in and having fun. Aaron marked the place he promised to build a sub-tower, as he called it, and people were all over the place. The next day, we had a great wildfire started by Aaron in the spawn forest that caused serious lag. A new guy had joined. His name was Axok. He kept trying to kill Aaron, but he just kept dying because of Aaron's /kill command. I found it kind of pathetic, and as sort of Aaron's rival, I thought I'd teach this new guy a lesson. So I crafted an end crystal and placed it in Aaron's base. I warned him not to touch it, but then Axok punched the thing and Aaron's house blew up. He /killed me 7 or 8 times and told me he'd get revenge for that. The next day, Isaac, my sister, and I took on the second dragon. I got killed. A lot. That's probably where my fear of the end began. But we eventually did kill it. 2 days later, the very first wither was killed. At this point, I had begun to build my base, a huge glass tower I named Yggdrasil. On the 21st of December, Isaac committed a horrible act. He slayed 280 pillagers and 65 vindicators to get totems of undying. From that day on, we had the Great Peace, a period of almost 3 months straight, where I kept building my base, where everyone on the server was doing their little things, where the shopping district grew and where everything went fine, but nothing interesting happened. Of course, Aaron had stopped playing again, but the community stayed healthy. That piece, however, ended when I finally completed Yggdrasil's main body and built an arena on top. On the 14th of March, I invited Aaron to have another duel, the very first duel on Yggdrasil. I won again. The next day, Aaron came back on stream and we had a party where we jumped off of Yggdrasil and tried to clutch it with our water buckets. This is when the second drought began. Aaron left after the party and stayed away for another 3 months until June 10th, when he came back once more and I finally decided to show him around and explain his own server to him. I even got mad at him for not finishing his tower and I ended up doing it. After a very long tour of everything, I challenged him to a duel, again. And oddly enough, he won this time, but we weren't really taking that fight seriously, so I never felt bad about losing to him. We had fun that day, and Aaron finally got his revenge for that day 6 months prior. Finally, on the 22nd of June, we had the second map reboot party. 1.16 was coming out and we had fun. I even personally recorded everything. We watched fireworks, we even fought on the sub tower that I built, and we said our final goodbyes to the 6 months of work we'd done. That 1.15 world was most definitely my personal favorite. The 1.16 world launched on the 24th of June. We were all pretty excited and everyone immediately rushed to the Nether. I built myself a little house and we were all trying to plan our bases. And the next day, the dragon was killed. How? Well, Isaac and Axelk had both been part of a Kalmar Union, a group formed during the 1.15 world. They both speedran their way through and faced the dragon only 24 hours after the world had begun. It turned out that Axelk had been cheating by using X-ray mods, so he was banned from the server for a short time. Isaac still killed the dragon though. Slowly, the amount of players began to drop. Apparently, those two playing so seriously discouraged everyone else from doing anything. Meanwhile, on the 30th of June, players called Cairo, Pineapple and Second Pixel founded the KSP Mafia, an organization that would rival the Kalmar Union and Tyrant before that. However, their members just stopped playing and the Mafia died before doing anything interesting. As less and less players were playing actively, their numbers eventually dropped to drought levels, and on the 18th of July, the third and by far most devastating droughts had begun. At one point, on the server's anniversary on the 4th of August, I was alone, the only player online. I knew they'd all eventually come back when Aaron did, just like the last 2 times, so I decided to build up my castle called Styx to prove them that staying active was a matter of choice and there was always hope. I became Lord Scarix and ruled the Nether, waiting for someone to come. But none of them ever did. After 2 months of practically seeing no one, I decided to organize a Halloween event and invited everyone to join. And on the 29th of October, I begged Aaron to return to the server so he'd see the hope wasn't lost. He said that many in the community wanted to reset the world mid-season so they could all start from a clean slate again. I, of course, said that all he had to do was to come back and he'd see that wasn't necessary. He came, we showed him around, and after a long tour, he didn't seem convinced. So I sat down and So let me explain. I'm not categorically against a reset. If it can cure the server, I'm for it. But I see it as an ultimatum, the nuclear option, if you will. We should use every other method and option before even considering a reset. And I see an event, you playing in it, and some fun as the best thing for that. I saw the drought coming since the second day of the world. I decided I would build something huge and inspiring, so when people come back, they could be inspired to stay. That's what this castle is ultimately for. Show that it's possible, that there's hope. Obviously, when I saw people suggesting that we reset everything, I got worried, because all of the work I did, all the grind, all the building, the message, the hope, would all be gone. Essentially what I'm saying is, if the event doesn't work, nothing will. And that means we'll have to reset, and I'll grieve my unfinished castle, and the hope I wanted to give to those who would come back would be meaningless. Do you understand? I don't need you to play every day. Not even every week. See, Aaron's streams are what attracted people here, but the community and the imagination, that's what keeps me here. If nobody ever comes back to see my castle, it'll be just as meaningless as if it got deleted. Once we reset, however, it won't last. People will come, people will go, and you'll reset again, and again, and again. Until eventually, there won't be a point in playing. My point is, if we don't find a way to keep people playing, I won't have a reason to play either, and I'll quit. I want you to promise me, if we reset, promise me that you'll keep the community active. Don't leave like every last time. Or if you do, not for too long. I want you to promise me that you'll never have to restart for the same reason again. That no matter what, there's always gonna be people playing and enjoying it. Promise me. Promise me that people will come back. And stay. And he did. He did. We held the event on Halloween and it didn't help. So I surrendered and agreed that the server be reset. I then thought I'd challenge Aaron to a duel, just like old times. He was playing Minecraft with a mouse and keyboard for the very first time. How hard could it be to top that? It was a long duel, a very long one. And at the end, I lost. When I respawned, I had given up. The server was going to be reset, and everything I had done till then was wasted. My last attempt at restoring hope didn't work. I couldn't even beat someone who hadn't used a mouse and keyboard on Minecraft before. Someone who let me carry the server, single-handedly keeping it alive, just so that he could end it. When I respawned, I had lost my dark outfit. I had lost my lordship. I now had an L in my name, and I was broken. I simply didn't have the strength to keep going. So I called Aaron in a Discord call, told him I'd leave. Asked him to find another historian, someone who could document the history of the server like I'd been doing, and promised to come back after a long break. I left. And the entire world was blown up. And that is how I got here. So, please, I beg of you. Teach me.